You ever notice this? Same room, same temperature, same everything, and one person is sitting there, completely fine. Meanwhile, your bigger friend is red-faced, fanning themselves with a random envelope, sweating through their shirt like they just fought a dragon in a sauna. Or that one family member who insists on blasting the AC in November? You know who I'm talking about. You've always known. And maybe you've wondered, quietly, respectfully, in the back of your head, why does that happen? Is it a willpower thing? A mindset thing? Are they just built differently? Turns out, yes. Literally, biologically, built differently. Today, we're breaking down the actual science of why bigger bodies often feel hotter. No judgment, no weird life advice, just physics, biology, and a little bit of thermodynamics that I promise will not hurt. Let's go! Here's something most people don't think about. Your body is generating heat right now. This very second. Not because it's hot outside, not because you're exercising, just because you are alive. Your heart beating? Heat. Your brain processing this video? Heat. Your liver doing mysterious liver things in the background? Also heat. Even digesting that snack you had 20 minutes ago? You guessed it, heat. Every metabolic process in your body produces heat as a byproduct. So your body is basically a biological furnace running 24/7. And one of its most important jobs is simple. Get rid of that heat before the meat computer overheats. The main way it does that? Sweat. Sweat evaporates off your skin, and when it evaporates, it carries heat away with it. Simple, elegant, slightly disgusting. But now imagine this. What if your body had a natural layer of insulation wrapped around it? A layer that slows heat down instead of letting it escape easily. Yeah, that's where body fat comes in. Body fat, technically called adipose tissue, does not magically create heat by itself. That's important. The key point is this. Fat is not very good at letting heat pass through it. In plain English, it works a bit like insulation. Construction workers use foam and fiberglass to insulate buildings. Whales use thick layers of blubber to survive freezing oceans. And humans with more fat under the skin can hold on to heat more easily. Same basic principle. So when your body generates heat, that heat has to travel outward through tissue before it can leave through the skin. If there is a thicker insulating layer under the skin, heat has a harder time escaping. Picture putting on a thick puffer jacket and walking in the sun. Hot, right? Annoying. Terrible life choice. Now imagine the jacket is part of your body. You can't unzip it, you can't take it off, you can't throw it onto a chair and pretend it was never your problem. Your body still has to cool itself down. So it compensates. It sweats more, it pushes more blood toward the skin, it works harder to move heat out. Not because the person is weak, because the cooling system has a harder job. Okay, now we need a tiny bit of math. Relax. Nobody is doing homework here. Your body loses heat mostly through your skin. Skin is your radiator. The more skin surface you have compared to your body mass, the easier it is to dump heat. Here's the trap. When a body gets larger, mass increases faster than surface area. Think of a cube. If you make a cube twice as tall, twice as wide, and twice as deep, the volume goes up 8 times. But the surface area only goes up 4 times. So the inside gets much bigger, but the outside does not keep up. Bodies work in a similar way. A larger body has more tissue producing heat, but the skin surface does not increase at the same rate. So you get a bigger furnace with vents that didn't scale up enough. That's why small animals lose heat super fast. Mice have tiny bodies and huge surface area relative to their size. So they run around like they owe money to the sun, just permanently panicking. Elephants are the opposite. Huge bodies, slower heat loss. Giant ears evolved partly to radiate heat. Bigger humans are not elephants, obviously, but the geometry is pointing in the same direction. More internal heat load, less efficient heat dumping. And suddenly the AC remote becomes a survival tool. Here's the part people get wrong. Sweating more does not mean someone is lazy. It does not mean they are dramatic. It does not mean their body is failing. Sweating is cooling. It is the body's emergency sprinkler system. Larger people often start sweating earlier and sweat more heavily during physical activity because their body is trying to get ahead of the heat problem. That is not a malfunction. That is adaptation. The body is basically saying, "We have reviewed the thermal situation. It is bad. Activate water mode." But there is a downside. Sweating uses water, a lot of it. And when you get dehydrated, your sweat output drops, which is a problem because sweat is the thing that was cooling you down. So the loop goes like this. You get hot, you sweat, you lose water, you sweat less, then you get even hotter. Beautiful design. Extremely annoying user experience. So yes, drink water. I know everybody says that. But for people who run hot, hydration is not just a wellness poster. It is load-bearing infrastructure. There is also more going on under the hood. Fat tissue is not just storage. It has blood supply. It releases chemical signals. It interacts with hormones. It affects how the body manages energy. A larger body often has a higher total resting energy demand because there is simply more tissue to maintain. But we should be careful here. Fat tissue is not as metabolically active as muscle. So the point is not, fat is a raging furnace. The point is, the whole system is bigger, harder to cool, and under more thermal load. There can also be inflammation involved, especially with visceral fat, the kind stored deeper around the organs. Low-grade inflammation can change how the body feels and regulates itself over time. And hormones like leptin may also play a role in temperature regulation, appetite, and energy balance. But the simple version is this: more heat being generated, more insulation slowing heat escape, a surface area problem, a sweat system working overtime, and sometimes a hormonal control panel that is not exactly having its best day. So when someone asks, why are they so hot? The answer is not one thing. It is 5 things wearing a trench coat. So, why do bigger bodies often feel hotter? Because body fat can act like insulation and slow heat from escaping. Because larger bodies produce more total heat, while skin surface area does not scale up perfectly. Because sweat has to work harder. Because dehydration can make the cooling system worse. And because metabolism, hormones, and inflammation can all add extra complexity under the hood. So next time someone is aggressively fanning themselves, begging for the AC to go lower, or sweating in a room that feels perfectly normal to you, they are probably not being dramatic. Their body is fighting physics, biology, and thermodynamics at the same time. In real time. Every day. Cut them some slack. Maybe hand them a glass of water. Maybe do not touch the thermostat just to make a point. And if you are the person who always runs hot, you are not broken. Your body is not lazy. It is actually working harder than most people realize. Wear breathable fabric. Stay hydrated. And know that the science is on your side. If this video made you think, or at least gave you something weirdly useful to say at dinner, hit like and subscribe. It genuinely helps more than you think. Next time, we're diving into another strange little thing about ordinary life. Until then, drink some water. All of you. Crows out.